What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house with another ridiculous market watch where everything and anything is getting bought out. If it breathes, if it has any kind of potential or future support, if it moves, it's a ridiculous buyout. And you can see even the sellers are having fun with this. Term in the TCG listing the second lowest photon orbital at 426.9. You see the actual price by Bubble Tea Cafe is 50, which is where photon orbital was at after its first fallout from its first buyout. So trying to maybe actually make a sale. This card is pretty good with Union Driver. You're able to get Galaxy Soldier, but I find that inefficient compared to something like 4 Strix with a rank up and being able to just go into infinity there. I mean, it is good for the Galaxy deck in general, though, and Union Driver did bring this to another level. It's a legendary duelist card. Another ridiculous buyout here on market is Psychic Shockwave. Activate only when your opponent activates a trap card. Discard a spell or trap card to special summon one level 6 Dark Machine type monster from your deck. So if you're not getting Ash Blossomed, I suppose in your Jinzo deck, you could respond to evenly matched after already setting this up and not even discarding a monster, which is usually the best discard resource. I don't see where you would be teching this except, you know, directly in a Jinzo deck or something where you would be okay shutting everything off. Yes, Royal Decree got buyouts for Eldritch, which is somewhat justified, but still a reach. And here we see this card. Well, in your Jinzo deck, you shouldn't be fearing evenly matched in the first place, I would hope. Another card that I would compare to this is Witch's Strike. You should already know that I don't feel the best about this card. I think that it is pretty hard to pull off, pretty slow, but we're getting into more grind states, so maybe you could justify it if your opponent negates the normal or special summon of a monster or monsters, or the activation of a card or effect, destroy all cards your opponent controls and in their hand. A huge payoff compared to this card, and only at $6, but Savage Strike is towards the Mega Tens, so we could expect to see a reprint for that. On that note, though, people love to hunt down and try to figure out the cards that aren't in the 10s or are going to be missing the 10s. Good luck with that game. There's always only a few, and a ton of people get caught holding a ton of cards that only go down in value. Ronin Tonin Supers are bought out to the point of, well, above $14. This is because Swap Frog got its hollow form in Ultra Rare and Dual Overload, and people can finally make cheaper sets, and when they can make cheaper sets, well, they're going to start going up. We also see Dupe Frog is towards that $6 price point for its supers, but you can play just Swap and Ronin and Mermails, and that's why Dupe is falling behind this card. Now, I'm going to do something dangerous. We've seen a lot of conspiracy theories going around Market Watch on how I control the market and support the 5 biggest sellers that are listing pre-sales, even though I tell you not to buy from them. I'm going to show you what's going on. Bonnie hired another dog from Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market's own home to destroy several Trickstar reincarnations and permanently take them off the market, meaning this card could have upward potential. So if you feel bad at all for Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market, be sure to visit their page and use code WhatsGood5 and get some Eternity Code or an upcoming set for yourself at some of the cheapest prices on market, and to help deal, because I'm very sorry for what Bonnie is doing to the market, guys. Pot of Desires is up for pretty much every single version. We see that the ultimate rare is towards 94 and holding after its original buyout. This is just stuck there for the most part. The first ad secrets are still above 25. Usually when it's a buyout, it's towards 32, and then it goes back down over time, which is why you see the market price not budging too much. And then even the ultras and commons are up, which is why the mid rarities are getting focused. I mean, first ad original secret is never a terrible thing to have in the first place, though. I would get my commons sooner than later, unless you see a reprint for this on the horizon, which it could end up in another structure deck. And if you find Order of the Spellcasters, boy, what a structure deck that is. It has, I believe, Droll and Lockbird, the Pendulum stuff. So if you can find this sealed for 10, it's not the worst buy in the world. Between these two cards rising, I'm surprised a lot of the people with the cheaper copies aren't just ripping this open to sell some of these cards. Thunder Dragon Titan Secret Rare has been bought out. Thunder Dragons were getting a little hype heading towards this format, but not really much with Colossus gone. But Titan Originals up up towards $8, while the ultra rares are still cheap, so you don't have to fret about getting a copy if you were looking at Thunder Dragons. But yeah, that's their boss monster now, and people are taking notice of the originals. Generators are up in price, with Mardell being well over $20. She was 26th lowest. This is the fall back out. I know things are getting bought out so fast and falling out so fast. I don't like generators that much in terms of they're fragile. They just one thing and they all fall apart, but when they get going, man, do they get going. It's really hard to get there though, and if they ever truly took off, I feel like Ghost Ogre is just the bane of their existence, and that could, you know, if there's ever a meta shift towards them, just pick them apart, in my opinion. You have to see the Ghost Ogre. I know, we're getting towards Therio. In the first place, this is not topping pretty much anything right now. I get we don't have events, but even the online tournaments aren't seeing a lot of this. I do enjoy playing the deck, don't get me wrong, by the way. I love it mechanically. I love summoning these giant monsters and doing the things that the deck does whenever I play it on stream. But, boy, does it have some brick fest. You can build a mansion out of those bricks, basically. Yes, I am aware Infinitrack Anchor Drill's been bought out, if you didn't see my stream thumbnail yesterday, and it's already fallen back down towards 45. We had a moment where it was 100, only one on market, then 75, and here we are, all the way back down. People want to make sales with this card. They're like, please, take it from me. Yes, 40, please, thank you. Because you know what they're getting, after track shipping and fees, they're getting, you know, around there. And they will gladly give it to you. You see sellers with zero feedback lining up to try to make their sales on this card. It is pretty cool to work with all these different decks, but all those decks are kind of rogue-ish for the most part that are focusing this card. Hope Harbinger, as rank 8s get a lot more attention, has been going up for its premium gold and is now above $10, and the super is slowly re-disappearing in quantities with only 20 listings. Despite being out of a special edition, they're disappearing. So it's something you might want to consider getting sooner than later for at least the super rare, and if you max rarity, sorry, it's a gold rare. But I know, you know, whenever it comes to rank 8s, you have the Blue Eyes players, and then is it a negate, isn't it? Hope Harbinger always seems to end up on those boards when players are picking and choosing. Nirvana High Paladin got bought out. This is interesting that it never got a reprint. I actually didn't know it didn't get a reprint until somebody brought this spy out to me, and I was like, really? They missed that one? So speaking of Megatons not catching things, here's one, and it's going up over time, getting a little gas. I think it's an okay card. What do you guys think about this buyout? I do see the reasoning behind it. It doesn't mean I'd be the one chasing after it, though, necessarily. Let me know what deck you play if you use this, and do you justify this kind of a price point or even a higher one? 4-Mud Skipper's getting attention with its only printing being out of the Soul Burner structure deck, one of the most open structure decks of all time. This is a very interesting card with very high potential for Cybers, and almost all Cybers decks choose to play this, so you're seeing it go up in price slowly with only 14 listings left. Ultimate Invocation. People are saying this one's my fault. All invocations were going up. I told people to get the ultimate rare ones, and it did disappear. So there seems to be a direct correlation to Market Watch. Here's my thing with this card, though. I think the ultimate rare, as the others disappear, becomes the closer option. And just like Infinite Impermanence, when the first edition secret copies were $10 apart from the ultra rare copies out of Dual Power, and there's a possible reprint on the horizon, I tell you guys to get the max rarity copy because it will hold the value the best. That's my honest and throughout full advice that I would give, and I know there's an incentive to make money using my TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra and supporting the channel directly. So people draw these lines that John is telling people this because there is an incentive to tell them to buy the highest rarity. No, when it comes to the price gaps and losing value where it was at 90, this was the good buy. Is it the good buy now? Absolutely not when it's at 150 to 170. Flower Guardian Light Shower is seeing slight increases in price and disappearing off the market rather quick. You might want to get your copy if you're actually interested in reading all the text on all those Flower Guardians. Link Spider Ultimate Rare is towards $30 now. This got a buyout a bit ago. This isn't necessarily new, but it's interesting that it is holding price despite actual sales rates happening for it. Magician's Soul is towards $115 for the English copies, and all of the foreign copies are starting to disappear. There were way more foreign copies just the other day, and even those foreign copies are going up in prices. Those were 95. So it seems like the second rush for high price cards is happening, and Magician's Souls happens to be one of those options that mixes very well with the Eldritch. Similarly, Lightning Storm is going back up in price, only one copy at 121 before they're 130. So everybody who thought this was going to tank and crash and do terrible during the off season, I didn't necessarily disagree that it would go down in price. I thought it would be maybe, you know, towards $95, $90 lowest, but here we are. The meta is busting all expectations. We're chugging past Pokemon and Magic, and the meta cards are just spiking ridiculously in price, partially due to the fact that we know iGas is not going to be in the Megatins. We know that they're going to end the set before with, I believe, Chaos Impact, so iGas is safe to a lot of people for longer, and they want their cards despite not knowing when events are going to be back. Sci Framework Lambda is at one of its lowest points, and I just kind of want to point out the Sci Frame engine evolves over time, and when 3 Tactical Talents comes out, you might want Lambda with access to Gamma and maybe, say, the spell negation. The Sci Frames continue to get better over time, I feel like, and people forget that evolution of the engine. With Lambda being this cheap compared to the history of Lambda, be looking at those copies. With Dolce Petting Sessor is almost towards $3 at the 250 mark and rising quickly with only 31 listings. The Madolche stuff is here, and how many times do we say it? Oh boy, the support's here, people are going after it. Well, that's what's happening here with her. Shironui Solitaire, the originals are completely sold out, while the other holo version has been going up. I pointed this a while back as it headed towards $6, and now it's just completely gone. I don't think this is necessarily one of the greatest options to play with Eldritch. I have fun playing mixed zombie variants, but I feel like mixing other engines is the way to go. So let me know if you guys are one of the ones who went after Solitaire and how you're approaching your zombie decks. Are you just after Mayakashi? Are you after something else? Or is this for Eldritch, and why? Zombiestein is a zombie, by the way, that I enjoy in the rank 8 category. Speaking of Hope Harbinger earlier in Market Watch, the original Ultras are back down in price if you've been waiting for this for a while, and there's quite a few copies. So you might want to get yours sooner than later for the jump versions if you're thinking about rank 8 engines and options, and you'll have a completely budget version with the super rare. And finally, the ultimate creature of destruction is getting bought out back up in price. Again, Legendary Duels, collectability, one of those crazy cards in a sense. I just tend not to give Legendary Duelist buyouts too much gas unless I do think they have way upward meta potential. So let me know what you guys thought of everything on today's Market Watch. I know it's quite a bit, a lot to, you know, choke down. And also, this is on my Twitter if you want to follow over at House of Champs. It's _house, well, house_of_champs. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the conversation on everything happening. I know it's a lot to take in time and time again over these past few weeks, but yesterday was a pretty good break from that with the penny stocks, and I enjoyed doing that video, and here we are, back to the grind.